first off, there's two big differences between the 2 second-rounders the Colts have. I mean, that's a 25-pick difference between 34, where the Jets' pick is, that the Colts have, and then 59, where your own second-rounder is. I would probably trade 59. I probably wouldn't trade 34. And I don't know if it's like that, like clear-cut, like, man, is it really that big of a difference? Like, isn't a game-changing pass rusher, isn't that enough to pull the trigger? What I would have questions on with Ford is just the same reasons why Kansas City seems to be okay with letting him go. It's not like Kansas City's got a cupboard of pass rushers off the edge, and they're changing to a 4-3 defense. I do think the Colts 4-3 is not some old-school 4-3 with a 275-pound defensive end that's needed there. No, I don't. I think Jabal Sheard is about the biggest of a defensive end that you want. I think ultimately speed and edge presence and the ability to get up the field and pressure the quarterback is what you want out of that 4-3. I look at it like the old 4-3, Mathis and Freeney. So the question you have to have, though, is what is Chris Ballard? And I know this isn't the question. Cody wants me to play GM, and I will. But remember, how does Chris Ballard rank the value to trade for Dee Ford? Because some 3-4 teams might say that a second-round pick is without a doubt worth trading for Dee Ford. But does Chris Ballard have concern about the scheme fit, and maybe his value stops at like a third-round pick, fourth-round pick? So those are things you have to keep in mind. Again, I would probably trade 59 for him, but I'm just a big fan right now of this draft, 26 and 34. I think your future at pass rush has to come at one of those two spots. Dee Ford's going to be 28 years old in a couple weeks. He probably still has 3 to 4 pretty good years left in him. But I'm more in the, can you get a 7 to 8 year guy? And I know it's more risk. Dee Ford, of course, has proven himself in this league, but I think that's a risk that you have to take at some point.
Brian Gill continues the Kansas City talk. He says, rumor is that the Chiefs are making both Dee Ford and Justin Houston available. If you were Chris Ballard, which would you rather have?
Well, I would say Ford over Houston. Little bit younger. I know that Houston is real. I think he had a pretty good year last year. I think he had 9 sacks in 11 games, 12 games. I mean, he that's pretty good production. But he's starting to creep up there in age. Hasn't had a double-digit sack season since like 2014. So that's two things that I worry about there. It's production and health have not met up in the same year. I think from a pure value standpoint, you'd have to give up more for Ford than you would. Did they release Houston?
They did, yeah.
So, yeah, Houston would just be straight-up contract then. I'm looking at this Eric Ebron tweet. Nobody want to do that Patriot Way bull blank.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's responding to a guy. He's responding to a player for the Lions. So earlier today, Eric Ebron tweeted Landon Collins.
He did.
Tried to want to go, I believe, and there was a playoff emoji of Jim Mora. So now we have a Lions player, Quentin Diggs, retweeting that and saying, man, chill out, he wearing Detroit blue. And then Ebron responds, nobody want to do that Patriot Way bullshit like Matt Patricia is trying to establish the Patriot Way. Aggressive by Eric Ebron, though. So, Houston, from a contract standpoint, I don't know how willing I would be to be handing that out. I do think in free agency, if you sign Trey Flowers, I would still be in the market to draft a rusher at 26 or 34. I think it's just that important. So I guess if you're going to make me pick Houston or Ford, maybe I'll side with Houston, but that's a really, really short-term fix. And I'm doing that just because that's money. I've got a lot of that to spend, whereas draft picks, I'd be a lot more hesitant to give that up.
And he likes them.
He likes them picks.
Louis' dad knows the way to our hearts here on this podcast. He says, after the Colts sign him, how much money does Landon Collins have to give Nayeem Hinds to get number 21 from him?
Rest assured, I think Landon Collins will have plenty of money to give to Nayeem Hinds. Remember, Joey, Nayeem Hinds credited his number change for helping out a season.
42 just didn't look right.
42 in the preseason. No, he looked like looked like Comer from Friday Night Lights.
Oh, the water bug.
Yeah, water bug.
Yeah.
Was he 42?
It was.
I think he was 42. Yeah, I mean, he
So
looked like
Miles
looked like a sophomore swimming in a varsity jersey. You know,
He
it's
did,
like
yeah.
you gotta get a little number there. So I think it's going to come with a nice asking price. But I believe Nayeem Hinds is a nice enough guy. I think he can find something else.
Our guy Stan Cal. So it looks like the national media is finally cooling on the AB Lev Bell Colts connection. Not like the local people have been saying that for months or anything. Are you more, quote, it's hard to be in touch with all 32 teams, or more, quote, guys, please listen to what local reporters say?
I do think it's hard to be in touch with all 32 teams. Having said that, when it's that big of a subject, you do a little homework. Like, let's say you believe on paper that 5 teams would have interest in Le'Veon Bell. I'm doing some hardcore homework on the Raiders, the Jets, the Texans, the Colts, the 49ers, whoever those 4 or 5 teams are, to make sure that what I'm about to go to print with or say on air on NFL Network, there's some validity behind that. I'm not just saying it because anybody can look up cap space and be like, oh, Colts have a need there. That makes sense. And that's something we need to watch out for the next week. Every single agent is going to want to leak information that the Colts are interested in their client. Drive up the market. So, Stan, yeah, and part of me is like, isn't that those people's jobs? You know, you cover the National Football League. I do think it's difficult to keep track of all 32 teams, but I'm not asking you to do a 7-round mock draft for the Colts.
Yeah.
You know?
These are the biggest names in the league.
I'm not
Figure it
putting
out.
you on NFL Network and say, do you think the Colts should re-sign Al Woods? No. I'm asking you the biggest topic right now in the NFL. So I see both sides of it.